On this episode of the PR Bunker podcast, Don Martelli sits down with Lindsay Mayer, founder of Communications. Lindsay spent 2 decades simplifying complex industries, from health insurance to life sciences marketing. In late 2024, she left corporate life to help entrepreneurs do the same with their own businesses. She and Don dig into translating complexity, keeping AI in its lane, and why relationships still drive real growth. And here's your host, Don Martelli.
Welcome back down to the PR Bunker. I am your host, Don Martelli, CEO of the PR Bunker. Oftentimes on this show, I love having other communicators and PR professionals on here because often we are behind the microphone, behind somebody, and never in front. My new friend, Lindsay, is in the trenches with me on the public relations communication side. Lindsay, welcome to the show. Can't wait to tell your story.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate you having me as a guest today.
You're welcome. Us in the communications PR field, our journeys are always kind of messy and like just a big mold of clay, right? I'd love for you to start off just telling us your story. We'll get into your company in a bit, but like, how'd you get to where you are today?
So I graduated with a journalism degree, and at the time it was news editorial or marketing PR, and I went marketing PR, and I think my goal was always to work for an ad agency. And, life happens and you go to get your first job, and it's like, okay, I'll take what I can get. So I ended up starting my career in a startup software company, did that for about a year, and then got into health insurance. I actually moved where my husband and I live now in Madison, Wisconsin. And so, did health insurance for about 13 years, was our sole marketing communications person. So we went through healthcare reform and all that, like trying to take that complex stuff and simplify it for everybody across the board. So I worked with all providers, agents, employers, all that good stuff. So learned a lot though, which I still use today. From there, I went to Covance, which is now LabCorp, and did more strategic campaign communications management. So worked across the drug development spectrum, anywhere from like research to all the way to patient trials and things like that, immuno-oncology, oncology, rare disease. Did all the the marketing campaigns for those. So it could be webinars, thought leadership stuff, blogs, webinars, all that good stuff. Learned a lot. Another very complex place, which I never thought I would be.
You're not taking easy assignments, my friend. You're diving into the hard stuff.
No, and all, health insurance was very, regulated. I think it was best friends with our lawyer. He used to tell me that if I have to email twice and you need to come to my office because we need more of a discussion. So we were good friends. But then, from LabCorp, I moved on to Exact Sciences, which had just been purchased by Abbott. So let's go further into the healthcare life sciences. Started out there doing healthcare conferences, so healthcare provider conferences for the product Cologuard. So did the strategy and execution across those, working with the sales team, helped launch our GI sales team, and then started moving into more business operations, doing more internal communications for our sales team, and just some cross-functional projects. Ended up working on project launch and helping with that too. So kind of went from marketing, communication strategy, and then kind of more operations processes. But I love that. I have kind of a systems brain. So the complicated piece, I think that's one of my strengths of taking those complex things and simplify it, which is what led me here today. In December of 2024, I decided to leave the corporate world and took a little time to think about what I wanted to be when I grew up. Decided I actually was helping a former friend colleague she's like, I just don't know what to do for marketing. And I'm like, you've done all kinds of presentations and all kinds of things that, like, I'm sure you have a lot of content. So I worked with her and we ended up pulling out about 1.5 years worth of content that she could post or use emails or blogs and things like that. So I don't know, I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur, but I was kind of like, maybe I could do this. So that turned into Camera Communications. And so, now I'm helping entrepreneurs really, really focusing on, those ideas. If they have a marketing communications idea or something with marketing, or even kind of tapping into a little bit of that operations side of the business of, hey, I've been, thinking about this thing. I want to approach it and I don't know how. So can I have a thinking partner to help me kind of put that into action and get out into the world? That's great.
Now, I find that those of us that are in marketing and communications roles are often just business strategists to begin with, because we have to know the business to talk about it and promote it so it sells or people get engaged or whatever action we're trying to get our audience to do. it's often, obviously, the marketing communications, that's the tip of the spear there.
Yes.
No, I know, clearly your the background and the careers you've had in terms of the industries,
Uh-huh.
healthcare, that sort of stuff. What kind of clients are you working now with? Is it small business owners in the healthcare space? What's kind of the vibe that you get your client base in there now?
Yeah, so I'm really working with entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, really in the like a service-based
Okay,
product.
got it.
So, if you offer a service or that kind of thing is really kind of where I focus. More B2B. I didn't do a lot of B2C in my career, so really focusing on that business to business side of
Excellent.
things. So yeah,
What's
I mean,
hmm,
I don't highlight specifically into healthcare, but some of my clients are that, and some of them are in other industries. I love the challenge of, I think that's part of the communications thing of like, you love just to learn more about things. And so it's really just about helping people learn more about their business and how we can help support them.
Sure. I always joke that anybody that's in marketing or PR is very dangerous at a cocktail party because of the different types of clients we've had over the years. I can talk about consumer product, MBA design,
Sure.
turfing, healthcare, insurance,
Right.
networking. It goes on and on. And we just retain this.
Mhm.
I think at some point it's useless information, but you're like, oh man, geez, yeah, turfing is this way, and this is how you use particular products for your grass. I'm like, how do I know that? I'm like, Jesus,
Yeah. You'd
that's
be
just
good as a
crazy.
trivia partner.
It is, yeah, and I think it's an always on learning environment, right? We're
I think
always picking
so.
up skills and tools. I mean, so as in this particular stage of your career where you figured some things out, how are you still kind of interested in learning and applying those techniques to your work?
Oh my gosh. I am just like, that's one of my top Clifton strengths is learning, is just been in my nature. And I think that's probably partially the journalism line and just getting in maybe more of those complex industries because it's like, okay, it's kind of a challenge. I'm always learning like new software. Like I was working with a client who started working with a different like VA team on a like building a scorecard or building an assessment. And I saw the software and I'm like, this can't be that hard. So I'm like, let me go in there. So I'm just a figure outer. Like I accept the challenge and I know when to say like, okay, this isn't for me or no, that's not my area. But a lot of times it's kind of like, okay, let's just dive into this and see if we can make it work. And I think that's partially because when I was at LabCorp, we used Eloqua, which is one of the top automation systems. So once you have all the bells and whistles, to go down to some simpler, yeah, you might be missing some of those bells and whistles, but you can understand the concept. So I think it's just my love of learning, and I'm always diving into like how can different things apply, or how can I learn new software, or
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing to help take those other examples and bring them in for like my clients of, hey, it's like trying to drive your car without any gas in it. It's like you give those analogies and you're like, oh, okay, I get it, versus I hate marketing or I'm so afraid of marketing. It's like, you shouldn't hate it. Like it's something that you can do. You just have to find the right thing that works for you versus trying to go trendy or trying to fit something that doesn't fit you.
Sure. And I think one of the things we challenge with as communicators running a business and helping others communicate is that the shoemaker's kids go
Yeah.
without shoes, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you tackle that challenge to do the things you do for your clients, but for your business? What does that look like?
That is always challenging because I think I have that conversation a lot that it's always easier to look at somebody's business and be like, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z. And then you look at your own and you're like, but I try to follow what I teach clients or I tell other people who have questions. I'm like, okay, when I'm stuck or whatever, it's like, okay, what would I tell somebody else how to do this? And so I really just try to map things out for myself like I would do for a client. But that's hard because you got to really stop. Because I think as entrepreneurs, you're just like, okay, next thing, go, go, go. And it's like to actually sit back and what am I doing here? What am I trying to accomplish? Can be hard.
Yeah,
But
I
you
agree.
have to
I
listen to
mean,
your own advice.
that you have to. I mean, and it proves the model, right? If you're doing it for yourself, and you can say, "Look, I'm doing it for myself, and I can actually do this for you." I think the challenge that we have is, we got an area now where we're in AI systems, and things are moving so damn fast. But when it comes to our work, there is a need to kind of like slow things down a little bit, like to really understand the story, understand the challenge of the business. How do I get an audience to kind of move on the things I want them to move on? So, like, how are you balancing that, like the 2026 speed of light versus the kind of slow down and be efficient versus being fast? What's that balance like for you?
I think it's learning to pause. Like I'm just a next thing. And that's something that I've been trying to work on I guess it's kind of twofold of pausing and then am I making this more complicated than it needs to be? I always pick a word of the year and for this year, it's been simple. So it's like, am I trying to? So I think there's things like, okay, I think you can get overwhelmed with AI too, because it does so much. And it's like, okay, I can do this. And I keep talking and, blah, blah, blah. But like, I think it's taking that and then actually thinking about what you want to do with it too, because you can generate all this stuff and have all these things. But then if you can't put them in motion, so you kind of got to
Yeah,
pause
valid.
and kind of
Good point.
just go back and be like, what am I trying to accomplish? Yeah, I got all these things that are great, but now how do I put them out into the world? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's always a challenge. That is a challenge for me of just how do you slow down and take a breath and like figure out, when things aren't going well or, you're trying to go a different direction. What does that look like? But it's actually taking that second to think about it versus like AI is so easy to be like, okay, tell me what I should do with this, kind of thing, which is good. Sometimes when you're stuck and you need to move, but I think just trying to, like I said, step back and just give yourself a second to be like, what am I trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Easier said than done. But.
Yeah. It's amazing where, like, if you think about when we started in our careers to now, right? And
Oh gosh,
I
yeah.
remember like putting a press release into a fax machine thinking it was
Yeah, I
awesome. I
know.
could send a press release to 10 media outlets by hitting one button. I was like, that's awesome. Now I can like have this
Yep.
stuff automatically done without even me like thinking about it, which is crazy. So where do you think it's headed?
I think we're like AI is great, but I think it's going to come back to like we're going to be so oversaturated with that kind of content that I feel like what's going to kind of step back or we're going to have to help shape what that looks like so that we don't, because they kind of say, I kind of hate this term, but garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
true.
And so I think it's like, that's why people are like, oh, if, I can just why would I hire somebody? I can just do AI. I'm like, that's what you get then. Like, but do you know what you're doing or you just throwing something out there? So I guess for me, it's like helping mold what it looks like. And I think we're always going to have a place. I know a lot of people are like, oh, AI is going to replace my job. I'm like, I don't think so. Cause you always need that human brain to guide it to what it's going to do. And I think we're going to learn ways to, and I know you've done this a ton of automate things that I don't want to do, and that's where you can come in and have that thinking time to help shape communications, whether it's, using AI to, build different prompts or things like that can help people out. I already did a toolkit and somebody was saying that because I'm like, oh, make a list. And she's like, oh, it'd be great to have like, if I could just throw all my stuff into AI and have it give me a list. And I'm like, that's probably possible, kind of thing. So it's
1,000% possible, by the way, because I'm doing it. It's all
are you
automated.
okay?
1,000% it's possible.
Yeah. So I think it's just using our background and where we came, because obviously we had to work through technology of, hey, I remember typing on a typewriter.
Yeah,
We
no
had
doubt.
computers and everyone's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
computers are, I'm like, no, the jobs change. And so I think we're just going to have to take our skills that we learned and adapt those to what our new environment is.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
agree. Yeah, I think us in this field in particular, because of the eclectic things we can do with our clients and the different things we got to learn between tools, writing, communicating, crisis work, marketing strategy. It's a day to day, hour to hour, sometimes minute to minute pivot. So you're like you're working on this client, then that client, this, and it just that speed is something I think we're kind of used to. So one of the favorite questions I always ask people I interview is, especially in this field, now that you're here at this part of your career, if you were talking to the 23-year-old Lindsay
Oh my
about
gosh.
this space and the journey that she is about to go down, what advice would you give her?
I think if you think that you have twists and turns in your career and they're not exactly what you wanted or maybe hoped for them to be, take a step back and like look at what you've all accomplished. Because I think we're always on to kind of the next thing and we don't look at all the things that we've learned. Like, okay, maybe I took this position and I wasn't really excited about it, but what knowledge did I take out of that? And so I think it's just be prepared to make those turns and twists that aren't fully aligned with what you want, but like maybe it can lead you to something. Because I think had I not learned what I had learned through my career, I don't know if I would have been an entrepreneur. Like I say that because it's like that was never, I was always the shy kid, whatever. And to tell, maybe 10-year-old me that this is what I would have done, I would have been like, no. So I think it's just be prepared to learn take that knowledge and then do what you want to do with it.
Love
kind
it.
of thing.
Great advice. Great advice. Now, what about when you describe kind of the work that you do and the things that you reflect on from a career perspective? What are you most proud of?
I think just getting to be an entrepreneur. I think for me, that's been because I was in corporate world for 20 plus years. And I think that's just what I grew up thinking. It's like, you climb the ladder and you get the title and you make the money and you whatever. And I think being able to just trust to step back and be like, there is a life that you can create for yourself without having somebody else influence it to some degree. Yeah. I think
Love that.
obviously there's lots of things I've learned and the different tools and stuff I'm learning, but I think just being able to say, I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work out, you know what? I can always go back.
Yeah.
Try,
Love that.
I guess.
I said it to everybody I talk to is like one of the biggest regrets I've ever had is I'm not doing what I'm doing now when I was in my 20s.
I know.
Because I was, just a grinder on the W-2, did my taxes every year, just went job to job and settled in at one for quite some time. And I just kind of rode that wave for a little bit. And it's not like I wasn't, hustling because I was. Being an entrepreneur and having multiple businesses and things that I work on, it's the success lives and dies with you, which is, part of the things that make you excited, but also, makes you scared as shit because you're like, Jesus. If I don't do this and invoices aren't coming in, like I'm screwed here, right? So, but I think that also what drives us a little bit. So I couldn't agree with you more. What's next for your firm, the work that you're doing? Where would you like to be in a year or 2 or 3?
I would like to obviously grow my clientele. I've only been doing this for a year and a half.
Well, once you get past the first year, great, checkbox.
I know.
3-year
but
mark,
then it's
5-year mark, and then go,
I think just keep growing. And I think for me, it's always been kind of figuring out what is that niche, just because I've had so many opportunities in my career and different things and just getting really settled into it and then growing my clientele and experiencing a lot of different things too, like just helping a lot of different people in areas that they don't know what they don't know.
Smart. Yeah. What's your growth strategy? Is it through networking, referrals, and what's that look like?
Yeah. So right now it's really been a lot of referrals, but I do networking. I again never would have thought I would have been like, hey, I'm heading to the networking event, but there's a few local in my community that I go to, and then I'm also on Alignable and do the events there, which are great. It's a great way to meet different people, and I feel like I'm always meeting people, and then they're like, "Hey, do you know about this?" And so it's just another avenue, and so I think it's just great to meet people. I think people go into it like, "Oh, I need business," and it's like, yeah, that's one thing, but I've grown so many relationships and built so many things that way that just open up opportunities that you just never know what's going to happen.
We
You
talked.
and I met, and
Yeah, totally. Here we are,
Yeah.
building our. We have 2 people that technically do the same kind of thing, but in different worlds, different
Right.
markets. So
Totally.
we all have sort of this pitch first mentality. For me, it's always give first. On Alignable, we talk about the Alignable method, which is really the Align method, which is ALIGN. Align, this is acquainting with somebody. You and I we got acquainted, had a conversation. We started to we trust each other. So we got that right? The L. I is in the investment in the relationship. And part of that investment is having you on my podcast to showcase all your great work, tell your story, to extend your story into my network and vice versa. And then the G is giving, giving that first give that you provide to somebody, recommendation, a referral. I'm a firm believer that creates a boomerang. And it comes back to all the business I've closed over the years, for the most part, has been about 98% of it has been through referrals. And the last one, which is probably the hardest letter to kind of fall through on the Align methodology, is nurturing. Like, how do you nurture a relationship? Because you and I have this conversation today, and we might not talk again for 6 months. And I don't want those relationships to die. For me, it's about building the systems around all that so you can keep tabs on people, make some connections. My favorite thing to do every Friday, which I'm going to do in about 2 hours, is run my People Connector tool. My People Connector tool goes through all the conversations I've had in the last 3-4 weeks and says, hey, Lindsay, you should meet my buddy Bill. Bill's over here, does yada, yada, yada. I met him through yesterday, and I'll send him a note saying, hey, Bill, you got to meet my friend Lindsay. You both agree to say, yes, I'd like to meet each other. People Connector will automatically put you on an email. Send Lindsay, meet Bill. Here's why you need to talk to him. Bill, meet Lindsay. Here's why I got to talk to her. And one, it makes me feel good. 2, there's synergies that gets created where at some point, if somebody asks you, hey, do you know somebody who's in the Boston market who does crisis communications? Like, I got a guy. And so, the podcast, and I think that us as communicators, that's just something we've always done. So appreciate you being on the show. Where can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably my primary social. Otherwise, my website is CameronCom.com. So CAMERON.com. CAMERON.com.
Excellent.
Lots of concepts.
Is Cameron the maiden name? Is it your street name? Where does it come from?
It's my middle name. I've
Middle
always
name.
liked my name, so I was like, "Hey, I'm just going to go with it." So
Love that. I
that's where
love
it
the
came
story
from.
behind the names. Good stuff. Well, Lindsay's been. Congratulations on year 1.
Thank you.
Keep steaming towards year 3 and 5. Keep
Appreciate
grinding. Go Packers, I guess. Right? Go Packers. Or go Patriots. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
But-
hey, we can cheer for both. It's
That's
okay.
right.
I'm an NFL fan. So.
There you go. Same. Well, I appreciate you joining me down here at the PR Bunker. Looking forward to continuing our relationship, and good luck. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's the PR Bunker podcast, hosted by Don Martelli. Here's the thesis. Reputation is the operating system for your business. It's the one asset that works while you sleep. When you need to defend it, repair it, or build it, start at prbunker.com. And for a sharper way to build the relationships that actually get you to yes, subscribe to the Anti-Networking Playbook on Substack. New every week. When reputation decides the outcome, be ready. We'll see you next time, and remember, stay locked in.